Hello friends, welcome to Kavita's classroom. The whole microeconomic theory goes and revolves around the price determination. It's also called price determination theory, right? So price is determined for all the goods and the services by the free market forces of demand and supply. Is there any instance when the market fails, where the market forces of demand and supply are not in a position to allocate the resources to its best level, means the most efficient level, means there is not the welfare gain. Instead, there is welfare loss with this market determination of the prices of the goods. So let's explain, and today's topic in hand is the market failure causes. Here we must understand what do we mean by the term market failure causes. So here we go. So when we talk about market, we know it's the most repeated picture of the microeconomics, that demand goes this way, supply goes this way. And this is the equilibrium determined by the market forces of demand and supply, wherein the price is this and the quantity traded is OQ. So this is a perfect diagram. It means the resources are allocated for the production and consumption of this OQ quantity. The OQ quantity is there and it would be traded at OP prices. So is there anything? Yes, there are a number of reasons when we see that the price and the quantity as decided by the market forces of demand and supply is not really apt, and it's resulting in welfare loss for the society instead of welfare gain. So what are these? There is a term called Pareto efficiency. So if it is the best allocation, we say it's Pareto efficient. What do you mean by this? Here, the efficiency goes to such a level that consumer cannot be, put at a better position without worsening the other. So that is the saturation of the best possible efficient allocation of resources. That is the term given as Pareto efficiency. Means no betterment can be done without worsening the situation of the other person. So this is a situation where free market allocation of goods and services is not Pareto efficient, hence it results in inefficient distribution, and that leads to the net loss of economic value for the society. So let's understand what are the reasons, what are the causes which leads to this inefficient allocation of resources. The first and the foremost reason is externalities. Externality means the impact on the third party, which is not involved in the economic work, but they do get affected. Right. It can be, the society, the people in general, the neighboring areas, our green environment and all. So anything, anybody which gets impacted positively or negatively, we call that as third party, who is not really engaged in the productive activity or economic activity, but is getting impacted. So if those impacts by the producers or by the economic agents are positive, we say it's a positive externality. And when these impacts are negative, we say these are negative externalities, right? So, but you must note that these externalities happen when it's the consumption as well as the production of goods and services. Let's understand everything one by one. So positive externalities of production. Production means here a producer is producing some good or services, and beyond his own personal benefits, there are certain benefits which are accruing to the society also, like the trainings, the research and development. If he is going for research and development, if he hits something good, right, the whole society would be benefited. The cost would be far less for those who have not done the research but are able to use that technology now that it is open. If a person is giving a training, any sort of training, technical training, so maybe that manpower leaves him and goes to some other person. So that benefit would go to that other person. If it is a disaster management training, fire training, first aid training given by the producer. So all these trainings are giving the skills to the people with him, and these skills would be benefiting the person at his personal end also. If anybody else other than his organization person needs first aid or some fire disaster management, so he would be equipped with that skill. So that is the external benefit. So all these things which are produced means this expenditure on training, research and development, or green or on greenery production and all. So these are actually given lesser allocation by the free market forces of demand and supply and should be given more allocation. Right. When it comes to consumption, the best possible example is education and health, which uplifts the social infrastructure of any country. So, by consuming these services of education and health, it's not merely he himself getting benefited. He would have the potential of earning more and remaining healthy for his future. But at the same time, if he is healthy, he would not be spreading any sort of diseases. Maybe he has taken some vaccine shots. So he is, helping the society be virus free. If he is educated, so that benefit of his education would go to his employer also. He would be able to better utilize his skills. So point is, consumption of such positive externalities again is lesser in the economy, and that should be increased to the socially desired level. And when it comes to the determination and allocation by the demand and supply forces, it is less. And when it comes to negative externalities, now, negative externalities of production means for any sort of producing, we do notice the air pollution, water pollution, all such things. So the money makers are making their money, but they are polluting their environment. The society is bearing the cost of, obnoxious air and adulterated air and all. Again, the negative externalities of consumption, for example, if we're talking about consumption of bad things like liquor, like tobacco, alcohol. So it's not merely the loss of the person who is consuming. He is creating unrest for the society also. He is impacting the immediate environment, the neighborhood. He is training the, police and administrative services, maybe the hospital services. So the production of such things should be lesser than what it is produced, right, by the allocation of free market forces of demand and supply, because it is creating a negative impact and negative social cost. Right. Then comes the second thing, that is public goods. So let's understand what are public goods. Public goods have two major characteristics: non-rivalrous and non-excludable. What does it mean? Non-rivalrous means the consumption of public goods by one doesn't have any impact on the consumption on other. It doesn't reduce the possibility of consumption for the other. Right. For example, there is a street light, right? So if that's a public good, so even if a person has paid tax or not, even if a person is belonging to that society, that area, so all those who are passing through that area are using that street light. So street light or that public good is non-rivalrous, means the consumption by one doesn't lower the chances of consumption by the other. And non-excludable means on no criteria we can exclude the consumption of public goods by any particular people. Right? Like we cannot say because of the basis of, on the basis of purchasing power, their ability to buy, and on the service class or anything. There is no criteria on which we can say, no, you cannot use it and you can use it. So it's open to all. right? Even if the person is able to pay or not able to pay, that person will pay, that person will use. So that creates a free rider effect. Means even if the people are in a position to pay for the same, they avail the free services. And because of this, the things are always in shortage because these are free. And government, is always in its shortage of supply. So these are not allocated properly by the free market forces of demand and supply, because for these things there is always excess demand. Then comes the market controlling power. If Why do we say that the perfect competition is the best? Because in that competition, the price to be paid by the consumers is least, and the quantity which is produced is the maximum as compared to any other format. So this is it. But as and when the imperfections creep in, the prices keep on going higher and higher, and the quantity produced in the economy keeps on falling. So if that market is controlled by some particular dominating firm, if the person has put, or the or the firm has put some sort of barriers to entry, so he'll control, he would have that price control, he would have that quantity control, right? And hence the things would be allocated in a wrong manner, where the welfare loss would happen. Then comes the next point, that is information failure or information asymmetry. Information failure means that information doesn't go there. People do not have it. And information asymmetry means information is inappropriate. It's not fully given to them. All aspects are not made clear to them. So it talks about the merit and demerit goods. Now, again, it is somewhat related to externalities. For example, what are the merit goods? The merit goods are like, as I gave you the example of, I would say, the education and health services. So these are merit goods. People at times undermine their positive impacts and they do not go for it, right? Government, by the free when the free forces of demand and supply are determining the prices and the quantity of these merit goods, this is less, and which results in the welfare loss. It should be far more because it has got a social benefit associated with it. At the same time, the demerit goods are those goods which are creating negative externality. For example, the sugary things, the adulterated food, the food which makes the people obese, the tobacco, alcohol, any other things which is creating or straining the health structure, health facilities, or the administrative services of any region. So those are demerit goods, and people might not have that information that how bad it could be for them. That's why their production is more and should be less. Means these are overproduced. So this should be underproduced. Right? Uh, it means that the allocation of resources for these things is wrong. Then comes income inequality. We do see it's a universal for every country, every city, anything and anywhere, that we have poorest of poor and richest of rich. So when the determination of things happen as per the demand and supply forces, so affordability is not taken into consideration, right? It's according to the market demand only. The quantities are decided. So here the poor people are neglected with this determination. And then factor immovability. And because of this factor immovability, the labor may get a better wage, but he is not ready to leave his own, town or own area or own family. So because of this immovability and the movability constraints, there is, I would say, the high unemployment or lack of production, lack of the allocation of resources is not correctly done. So these all had been certain examples wherein you can see that market failure happens. And whenever I say market failure, it means there is a component of welfare loss. So in such case, government intervention also happens at times in terms of taxes and subsidies to bring that loss back, and means it should be avoided. Fine. I hope the concepts are clear to you. Thanks for watching. Waiting for your queries, feedback, and comments. Bye bye. See ya. Have a blessed day.